Well, welcome to the Greeley Evans School District 6 work session. Today is August 22nd in 2022, and so we are calling the work session to order. And wait, Ms. Lemon? Oh, there you are. Sorry. Will you call the roll for us, please?
Director Bentley?
Present.
Director Mash?
Present.
Director Matthews?
Present.
Director Mueller?
Present.
Director Norwood?
Present.
Director Pappas? Present. Director Sullivan?
Present.
All board members present.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, we'll start our work session the way that we always do, with board member comments and reports. And so, Ms. Mash, will you lead us off, please?
Well, the most exciting things we've done the last couple weeks is 3 ribbon cuttings, and those were just so much fun to get to celebrate with the parents and families, the staff, and the community. Each one was special and different, reflecting that community of folks, and it's been fun to hear at a workout class. I heard somebody telling their friend all about Greeley West High School. The man in the park who's working on my road is like, man, there's some really exciting things happening in District 6. So it's really fun to just feel that infectious excitement, and just with so much hard work that we've done the last few years to have these, to see that come to fruition. And you know, the quote that I'm just going to remember forever is from Samira Providence, the student body president at Greeley West, who just said, "We finally have a building that matches the beauty and integrity of everyone inside it." And I wish that will be the case for all of our students to feel that way, and we're well on our way with that. So.
Thank you, Ms. Mash. Mr. Norwood.
I agree. It was a lot of fun to go out to the ribbon cuttings. I feel bad I had to miss chapel, but I think you guys had left the ribbon cutting by the time I'd gotten home from work. But to see Taunton and to see Greeley West was incredible. State-of-the-art schools. And then on another note, to get an opportunity to get the sports season started, start seeing some high school sports. Had a chance to go out and watch the Northridge Frederick football scrimmage last Friday night. So high school sports are in the air. Nothing greater than getting the chance to go out and watch kids play just because they love it. So
How's Northridge looking?
good. They got some good players. They really do. They got one kid that's going to go to South Dakota State, I want to say. And they got some other athletes on that team that Jeremy's done a great job. So they're going to be fun to watch.
Ms. Pappas.
Yes, the ribbon cuttings were just wonderful, and I mean, it's just such a gift to our community, the voters passing that bond, and letting us be the best that we can be. They were pretty amazing. And like Natalie said, it was just seeing the kids and the families and just the excitement around it was an honor to be part of that. And then the Global Refugee collaboration meeting was last week. And I won't go into a lot of detail, but they did start it with a story of one of the refugees. His name was Jasir. And he has been here, I believe, a little over a year. But he already connected with District 6. He got a job at JBS, but he connected with District 6 and the collaboration we have. So he was able to get employment with District 6 in the medical, doing some medical things. And then he also has gotten his GED, and he also has his CDL license and is hoping to buy his own truck. So it was just a wonderful story, number one, but also just a reinforcement of our collaboration in the community and all the partnerships that we have. So that was great. And then also, I don't know if you all know, but the City of Greeley has a new website called Speak Up Greeley. It's interactive. So you can sign on to City of Greeley and go to Speak Up Greeley and give your input. And I think that's also a good opportunity for our families and people to give input into Greeley doings. And I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Terry. Kyle?
Yeah, same. I went to Greeley West on 8-9. It was really fun to see the buzz and the smiles. But the Toyton felt a little bit different for some reason. I think that was just because it's all brand new. The little tour guides that told us about the curriculum and what they're going to be doing, it was really cute, and there's just a lot of excitement. So just to see, from Bob Toyton and his family all the way down to a finished product and the collaboration with the city, it was just an amazing project, and we're lucky to be part of it. So,
Pepper?
I echo what everyone also has said. Thank you to the parents and everybody in the community with the start of school and with these ribbon cuttings. I was mightily impressed at all three ribbon cuttings, the students that were involved. I love the song that the Toyton choir was able to drum up in a week's time. I love the students who gave me tours and told me things. Tate, anyone notice Tate? I thought was a wizard because he was in the library further on. It was his twin brother, identical twin. And I was, they explained it, thankfully. I don't remember his brother's name. But yes, so thank you to the kids who were very engaged in giving the tour and obviously very proud of their school. I did have the opportunity to go to the Poudre Learning Center Foundation Board. It was the last one for me. That was last week. They are doing mostly, they're just kind of in a holding pattern on some things. There is programming happening. There's a lot of professional development that happened this summer for teachers to bring science into the classroom and, work on getting students out to the Poudre Learning Center. There are 3 new board members, and I am going to forget the last one's name, but Bill Garcia and John Shuttler were 2 of the new board members. And so I just, Mandy Hydock, I know usually goes to those meetings, just want to put it out there that if we need a representative, I will no longer be the person who will be going to those meetings. And also, I don't know if I'll get a chance to, so I just wanted to say a shout out to Annette Overton. Ms. Overton and your staff, you have managed to hire a whole lot of people. And I know that's difficult. And so I just want to thank you for all the hard work of you and your staff to get new teachers in place and all the people you've hired.
Thanks, Pepper. Taylor?
Same as everyone else, it was an honor to be able to go to those ribbon cutting ceremonies. I wasn't able to do Chapelo as well because of work, but I think the one that really stuck out was probably Toyton Academy, and I would have to say it's because it was more personalized. We had the whole family there. We had that Bob Toyton there, and you could just see he was very proud. And the boys were all engaged, and you could just tell that they had a lot of family pride in what was happening before them. And walking through the schools was fun because the kids were really, truly engaged. They were very excited. I mean, they would attack you as you were walking down if you didn't stop and listen to them. And I got to watch the, what do you call that thing? Machine that makes that
3D printer?
3D printer, thank you. And one little boy up there was really excited showing all the things that they've made. And it was fun, I think, because of this one. There was like little surprises going through the building that I wasn't expecting. And the one was, we have that robotics lab where they get to build robotics, and then they're going to be competing and whatnot nationally and whatnot. So there was those fun little things that I wasn't aware of from our first walkthrough until it was completed, that it was just nice surprises to be able to see. And you could see the parents were excited, but truly, I think it was more of the kids excited that they had something new and something fresh and something that offered, I think, a lot of challenges are going to be at that school, so.
Thanks, Taylor. And yeah, I just say the same as everybody else. I think what stands out to me on those 3 schools is just how beautiful they all are, and how inspirational they all are. And I think a lot of our kids don't always have things that are inspirational in their lives. And so to be able to go to schools that are beautiful, and to walk in and have the feeling that even if I don't understand what's important about this, even if I don't know why fractions are important right now, or whatever it is they're learning, that somebody thinks what I'm doing here today is really, really important. And so I'm so thankful to this community for giving our kids that opportunity. Just also wanted to thank, because we've done a number of these and have thanked them at different times, but probably more so in the beam toppings and things, but definitely want to thank Kent Henson for your work on this. I know it's been a ton of work for you, and also Megan Sponsler and Teresa and Aaron for getting the word out. And Tony, is Tony back there somewhere? No, Tony was very instrumental as well. And I know probably there are people on your staff, Dr. Pilch, I'm leaving off, and that's why I don't like to go down the road of thanking everybody every time, but I know those people that I just mentioned were especially instrumental at different points in getting these buildings built. And so thank you for all the hours, and thank you guys for all the work. And again, thanks to our community for making that investment in our kids. So that's all I've got. We need to look at our calendar, upcoming events, and calendar review. So you've got one before you. I'll just highlight a few of these things. We have our first school visit, and we'll be talking about school visits here in just a moment. But we have our first school visit coming up on the 6th. And I think what I don't see on here, and I know several of us are involved with, is homecoming for Greeley Central.
Oh, right. September 2nd,
Yeah.
1st?
Friday.
Yeah, I think they didn't go through Amy on that. They just went straight to
Yeah,
you, so we didn't
went
get on
straight-
here, but yes.
Straight to us on that one, but
Yeah.
just a reminder to those of you who did sign up for Greeley Central Homecoming and to be in the parade. That's always a fun event, coming really early in the school year this time. Grade Ed lunch on the 13th. Dream Team Community of Champions breakfast. If people can all make that, please try. It's an early morning, but it's always a fun event, always an educational event, and we have the privilege of honoring Miss Pappas on the 15th. So school visit at Scott on the 16th, and Heritage Days on the 17th. Then we're back. That takes us about a month out. Anything else in the next month that I neglected to mention?
No, I would just like to follow up, if I can, on a couple of these. President Matthews, the Grade Ed luncheon and the Dream Team breakfast, if you want to be at the school district table, you need to let Amy know about your intent to attend those. I do think it sounds like we may be featured again at the Great Education Colorado luncheon. Lisa Weil and I met last week. We're still kind of pinning that down. We'll see what comes of that. And the Heritage Days, we'll need to, typically what has happened on those days is we have a table, a booth there, and school board members have typically managed that booth and shared information about the school district and answered questions as parents came through. So we'll need to work out a schedule for that day. So I don't know if we have somebody who wants to kind of spearhead it. for making sure we get started in that day, and then Amy could put out a schedule for you all to sign up to take shifts, or when you could be there, or if you know right now that you can or can't, that would be helpful too.
I'm happy to start that. We've done it the last several years. And then I think Teresa also, and I can't remember who else, brought a lot of swag from District 6 that we were able to give away, and oranges. And they
Yeah.
were a big item.
The oranges were Danielle got us oranges.
Yes, and that was, they were
Yeah.
really popular.
Yeah.
Got a lot of people at our table.
I'm happy to help out with that too, but I need an afternoon shift. I've got another event in the morning. So
I'm not sure the time of it.
It's the 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., so they've shifted it a little.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'd much rather have the morning. Okay.
So a little bit later in the afternoon.
Yeah,
We've
perfect.
got an Adeo, there's an event for Adeo.
Yeah, I'd much rather start it early and leave it.
I wonder, because the Greeley Central Band is marching in the parade, but that's got to be at like 8 or 9.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
parade is now before this event.
Okay.
At 9, you think?
Well, I can help after I watch my marching band student.
Yeah, it's nice to have two of you there at a time if you can, just so that people aren't waiting, and people do come and ask questions, and it's an opportunity to share information about the school district and bring, concerns or questions back that you might not answer. You can keep track of those, and we can follow up afterwards with folks.
I'll just say also our transportation team will be there that day as well, and they invited me to invite you to stop by and just say hello. And those guys they're there recruiting for transportation and for more bus drivers. That's a lot of the reason they go to a lot of public events and are recruiting more bus drivers. And so if you see the big Greeley Evans School District 6 bus, just drop by and offer just some words of encouragement to those guys as well. So.
It's a really good opportunity for community engagement. Thinking of what you've just said, similar to the school kickoff event, there'll be lots of community booths, lots of our community partners there, like the Evans School Resource Officers typically there, and folks from the Evans Police Department, typically folks from other community organizations, and the rec center there in Evans, and the High Plains Library District, and so lots of opportunity to walk around and just introduce yourself and thank people for their work and recognize them for all that they do for the community.
Anything else on our calendar? All right. Well, we are now to school visits, and we'll spend the next 20 minutes or so talking about our school visits. And you also have this in front of you where we can see what our school visits are going to be. Dr. Pilch put this together for us after our last meeting, and hopefully these dates are going to work for a lot of us. It really is. I know we can't all get to every school visit. I mean, that's not realistic to have 7 people, but it is a lot better when we have 4 or 5 than if it's 2 of us. So Dr. Pilch, I'll give it to you. Is there anything you want to tell us about these school visits?
Thanks. So what you'll see, I heard you say earlier is better, later is better. We're working around school schedules, and our elementaries start earlier and they get out earlier. So on some of those elementary visits, we were able to get them a little bit earlier. I do want to just remind everyone how important it is that you respond to the calendar invite on these, so we know if you're coming or not. Because last spring, I think there was one where we saw we only had two board members able to come, and we made the decision to postpone that visit. We'd like to have more than just 2 of us at these visits. So if you can please respond to your calendar invite, so we know and we can plan ahead that you're a yes or a no on these visits. So this is the plan for the year. That very likely we will add some others as things come up. We may add other visits in. I do want you to watch your calendar because things may change as things come up at a school. One of the principals may say, really, November works better for me than October, so Northridge and Chapel would like to trade times, for example. So you'll just want to be mindful of that. We did add the family center in. We hadn't had we haven't done a visit to the Family Center, and so I know some of you have asked about that, so we added that in. And we thought when we went out to GAP, to the Greeley Alternative Program, that we would also visit the Next and the, GED Plus program out there, so you get a chance to see both of those programs out there at that West 20th campus. We did put Greeley West and Toynton at the end of the year. You've been to those schools multiple times, many of you, and plus we want to give them the opportunity to get things up and running this year. So thought that maybe by having them in March and April, that'd be a good time for them to really kind of give us an update on how the school year has gone and do some reflection on the year. We did limit the April visits because of the state testing. So you see you just have the one visit there in April due to the state testing. We only did one visit in December and January, because both of those around the holiday gets really super busy, and we're just, not here as much. So what questions do you have about those visits? What are you wondering about?
I think the only question I have, Dr. Pelch, I did forget to mention, I got the opportunity to serve as a lunch lady at Martinez, which was great fun. Everybody should do it. And it is impressive to see how quickly they move a bunch of students through the cafeteria. And they're very efficient, and those kids are excited to get a hot plate of food. But Martinez is a construction zone, and I know I myself was not sure where to park. So that's my only question is it best to try and park in the main parking, or how do you want to direct us to that particular visit?
When we get to Martinez on that Tuesday, I think the main lot is your best option around. So when you turn in, to turn to your right and go around in that area, don't you think, Stacy?
There's construction in the back.
That's,
Is there
yeah.
Right now, it would be to the left, I think is what Kinsey.
So you want them to turn left?
I parked left when I went there last week.
I
so.
parked right last week. Yeah.
There's a few spots, huh?
Yeah, I parked on the right. But there's, 8 of us with all of us, and then Dr. Dattery too. So we should pull in and go left. Okay.
Even though it says not to.
Yeah, even though it says no left turn.
I know, it's so weird.
I did break all the rules doing it, because it was all construction to the right, so, yeah.
I have a question for you, Pepper. Did you say, hey, can I serve lunch? Or did they say, hey, you're our liaison, here's an idea? Or how did that happen?
So it turns out that District 6 has a Facebook page. And on that Facebook page are regular announcements about opportunities to do things. And one of them, Teresa or somebody posted, or Danielle, a opportunity to volunteers in the lunchroom for the Title I schools, I believe. It was all the Title I schools that were listed. And it's literally a Qualtrics survey. You go on, you sign up. That's how I did it.
And I assume it's through our volunteer background check system. So all of you would have to have completed your volunteer background checks to volunteer to do that.
If we've done that once, we don't have to do it.
No, you'll have to do it again this fall.
Okay.
Yeah. It's annual.
It told me that it was too soon for me to renew it.
Yeah, I got that same
I got
message.
that same thing as well.
It literally does for the day, so you just probably got to.
Sorry about
So if
that.
you got that message, do it again.
Yeah, do it
If it's not in the system somewhere. Okay.
It's an e-week.
Okay. Yeah, that was in your e-week, guys, to do CART training, the child abuse reporting training, as well as the volunteer background check training.
I wondered if we could possibly squeeze in a visit to Fred Chartis since they're at UNC, just because that sounds really.
So we actually didn't do Fred Chartis because they are at UNC. There's some significant parking issues there. But I assumed you all would probably try to visit the museum night when they do it,
yeah.
which is what you've done in the past. So I think you'll have an opportunity, if you attend museum night, to be able to see Fred Chartis. So we'll make sure, Amy, will you reach out to the staff at Fred Chartis to make sure we have those museum night dates? And let's just get them on the board calendar so that would give you an opportunity to see it if you want to see it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, where are the staff and teachers parking for Fred Chartis?
There is parking that's just right to the east
Yeah.
of the building.
Yeah, I know where you mean. Okay.
We're giving a certain amount of improvements in that block to correlate with that.
East of TK.
Yep.
Okay.
if for some reason they're not doing their museum night and an opportunity for you all to get in there, we could certainly look at a visit for them down the road. You'll see we're not getting to every school. So what we did is Stacy and Anthony and Wes and I went through the calendar for the last 4 years and looked at, and we had that year in there where we really didn't go to any schools, a year and a half or so, but looked at when we had last done school visits. And so we've tried to clump those schools at the first who we haven't been to for quite a while, and then, or who we had to cancel. And then we're starting to get to schools at the end there that we were at, even as recently as last year. So we'll keep track of that kind of rolling forward. A little bit about the visit. I heard you all say it's really fun when students can get involved, and we will let the principals know that. In many cases, that will probably be an option, but it also, we don't, I want the principals to see us as least intrusive as possible, right? So, but we've shared with them that your desire to have, some interaction with students and have students a part of that. We also worked with principals on, where are those schools where it works for the principal for us to be in the building with staff before the school day actually starts. That's what we're doing at Scott. At Martinez, if you'll see, if you ever go there in the morning, that their leadership is outside moving cones and moving traffic. And so for us to pick a morning at Martinez actually will disrupt the way they serve their families there. So we tried to work around some of that and get some of those desires in for you to be able to be with students or staff, and then also to be in classrooms. What questions do you all have?
Was we going to try to invite any of the community to any of these?
Well, they have to have a volunteer background check to go in. So I think it, Kyle, would be like if someone has reached out to you personally and they want, they want to visit a school, then we could check the background check, and then they could be your guest, I think, personally. And this, I think, this really is, these are visits for you all. They really are for you to interact with the principal and students and staff, and these really are not intended to be community-wide visits. But I also think if you have somebody who, is really interested, let's work on that. We are going to do some VIP tours of some of our sites, and so that's an opportunity for community members to sign up to actually be at some of our sites also.
Do we have a sense of when those will?
Yeah,
a
we
lot of
do.
people ask.
We have two scheduled in September. Those are
This is Toynton and Greeley West.
And those are being advertised?
So there's one on Friday, September 9th, tentatively right now. If we can make all the logistics work.
Friday, September
9th.
9th? Okay.
So as soon as those are all set up, you guys will all receive invites on those. You're all invited to those VIP tours if you choose to come. So that's another opportunity to engage with community members.
I'm sorry, how long did you say those were going to be?
They are 9 to noon
9 to noon.
right now. So Amy will want to make sure and get those on the board members' calendars once they're solidified with transportation and the timing of them. Part of what we're working through is the start of the school day and being able to have a bus that can, take community members, and then, of course, the middle of the school day. So we're working to make sure we can secure transportation to do that.
Those are actually really great ways to engage with the community. I remember going on those before I was on the board and meeting board members and seeing the district. So it is a great way for community to see what's happening, but also it's a great way for us to engage with the community. I know that's a huge chunk of time on a Friday morning, but but if you can make it, it's well worthwhile.
Well, I think that at times board members have attended part of it and just
Yeah,
driven their
right.
own car and attended a part that you could attend on those
Correct.
days. All right, questions that you guys have on that, on those visits?
Not hearing any, so thank you for getting that set up for us. Everybody, please check your calendars as soon as you can. Get those on your calendars. Say yay or nay, or maybe if you have to, but try to get those on your calendars so that we have a good idea of how many people will attend. Because again, if it's going to be 2 people, we might just want to move it.
Yeah, look
It's
for
such-
where we don't have
It's a lot
conflicts.
of work for our schools, so. On to school visits. No, sorry, we just did school visits, community engagement, listening sessions.
So I think, kind of to start this conversation, you have the list of the schools that you liaison with. And you have it 2 different ways. You have your name with the schools next to you, and then you have all the schools with the board member's name next to that. We did shift just slightly. We moved Northridge off you to Natalie and moved Brentwood to you from Natalie, knowing that we have a new board member coming on, possibly in your seat. I thought it was prudent to move the high school to Natalie. She is the only board member right now that currently does not have a high school that she liaisons with. So, and then I wanted to talk just a little bit more about kind of this board liaison role around the community engagement. I think this really is our best way for you to have the opportunity to interact with students with teachers and with parents is to be at those events that make the most sense around board involvement. And so we're going to approach this a little more aggressively this year in that we're going to actually have our principals provide us a calendar of those events for you. And then if you'll commit to reaching out to the principal before attending so they know to expect you and look for you and hopefully introduce you or have a table set up for you if it's an event that requires a table to be set up. But we're going to work with, Stacy and Anthony are working to get all that information from our principals so you have it all in one place. So we'll be pushing that out in board docs as soon as we have that together for you and through email. But if you look at the next sheet, we've talked about some of this, but I thought it might be nice just as we start the school year for you to really have it in front of you around what are those big intentional things where schools would really like to have a board member present and would like to see you in the schools that you liaison with. So the first thing on the list you see there is the School Accountability Committee. They typically meet monthly, or pretty close to monthly, right, Stacy? And
Yeah, about 6 times in the year.
the School Accountability Committee, yeah. And so they're just now gearing up, but this is a place where you can actually serve a role on that committee, and the folks on that committee are typically parents, some teachers, and community member possibly. But this is where they work on their school improvement plan. This is where they get feedback on complex issues they might be working on in the school. But you can, as a board member, be present there and then even bring information back here that you attended a school accountability committee meeting and this was one of the questions they had, or this is one of the things they were celebrating. I don't know if some of the board members who have had a chance to be a part of school accountability committees would like to talk about your experience with that and your thoughts around that.
Well, I've been part of 2. So when Kent was the principal at Greeley Central, and I was the board liaison at Central, I attended Greeley Central SAC meetings, and then also at Maplewood. What I would tell you is that it's a really great way to, and McAuliffe, Jeff Peterson at McAuliffe. It's a great way to not only get to know your building staff better, but also the parents. And so in all cases, all three of those people did give me a standing agenda item to be able to share information from the district. And if there was nothing to share, that was fine as well. But I found my participation in the SAC meetings to be not only valuable to us as a board, but also I think overall, making that commitment to get to know the parents and families. So I would highly encourage you to see which schools you can participate in. And there are times when you can't make everyone, and I think that they understand that as well. So just letting the principal know ahead of time. But they were some of the most powerful engagement opportunities I think that I've had over my time in the board.
Typically, they're at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Yeah. Some schools serve dinner, so you'll just, but we'll get you all that, so you know.
And like at Maplewood, it was right after school. Yeah, there's summer, yeah.
I will tell you, I have not served as a board member going to a SAC meeting, but I did as a parent, and I was on the Greeley SAC. And one of the things that was really interesting is
The Greeley West SAC?
yeah, the Greeley West SAC. Yeah, yeah. The thing that was really interesting is Jeff Cranston did a really good job of inviting community members, and he had a representative there from Wesleyan at the time, now called Generations Church, and we partner with them super closely. That they have done a lot to support the school district, from when Meeker flooded to all the IB tests, and many of the AP tests were held in Generations Church, and so I found that very valuable.
Agree.
It wasn't just about, it was great to talk to the parents and to hear their feedback and to talk to the teachers that were on the committee, but then to have these community members play a role and tell you kind of some of the things that they were dealing with, schedule-wise, whatever it was, and get their input, that was really valuable.
Agree.
And I actually served as the community liaison for Shawsheen for a year or so, and so I was that person, and very, very helpful just to know what's happening in the school. I know we just had standardized tests. Schools will oftentimes break those down, at the SAC meetings, say, this is what we're doing, this is what we're trying to accomplish, this is where we know we need to improve, this is the grade that we know we're focused on. There are all kinds of things that go into to those scores, and all kinds of strategies that they're using to improve student achievement and student growth, and you get to, it becomes more than just numbers on a page, which is sometimes, when we're looking at the big picture, sometimes what it looks like, and that's what I appreciated, I think, most about the SAC meeting, is you really got to dig into, what's happening at that school. And I would say also, another SAC meeting I went to, that was not well attended. I do think we want to let principals know if we're coming, but if we can make that kind of commitment to be there, and parents know that we're going to be there, it actually helps. Sometimes it's difficult to recruit parents to SAC meetings, but when they know a board member's there, that can be a recruiting tool for them, for their parents. And so, those are my thoughts as having attended some SAC meetings.
You said they're usually quarterly or
No.
4 times a year?
It's about 6 times a year.
6 times a year.
So they won't do one in August typically, and then they'll start in September. And so then every SAC committee also has a representative back to the District Accountability Committee here at the district level, and so someone from that team, when you go to that school, will be also coming to those 6 meetings a year for District Accountability Committee. And they're the liaison back, the SAC reporting back what's happening at District Accountability Committee.
So I definitely see the value, and I would love to do that. I'm just thinking that's 30 extra meetings.
No, you would just go to the schools you liaison with.
Right, but 5 times 6.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is 30 meetings, you're right.
So if we were able to commit to 2
That is a
per
lot,
school
yeah.
or something like that.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, or really what might be most helpful would be to commit to 2 schools. So you've got the continuity of your attendance throughout the year. So that might be even another way to look at this. So, but I think you could do it either way. Commit to a couple of schools or commit to a certain number of meetings throughout the year at all 4 schools.
Well, and sometimes schools have their meetings at the same time, same day, same time.
Right, so you
then,
can't,
yeah.
yeah.
Does early childhood do a SAC meeting?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. We've never had an early childhood rep. Yeah, right. Yeah. So I guess, so here's the thing, guys. We decided, as I visited with the team and with board leadership, we're trying to look for true, authentic ways for you to really engage with our community and our parents. And I think SAC is one of the best ways to do that. So even though it sounds like it is a lot of meetings, this is a standing way to actually for you to have that opportunity. And President Matthews is right. If parents and community members know that there will be a school board member present, they're much more likely to attend because they're looking for an update from you, and they may be looking for an audience with you to share information or ask questions. So with that, I'm going to give you some more that you can do.
Okay.
For engagement. So the next one is to attend and engage with parents at parent-teacher conferences. And so typically what has worked with this is for there to be a table at the front of the school on the parent-teacher conference night, and that you're there with district information, strategic plan information, whatever the information is that is timely for the time of those parent-teacher conferences. And then you are there that night, and you're greeting parents as they come in. So parents are coming in to go to the conference, and you're there at the front of the school to greet them. You'll want to make sure the principal knows if you're planning to attend so that they can have a table set up for you, and we can have the district information for you to share. Any questions about that one? And then the next one I think is the easy one. It's, just attending concerts and plays or other school programs that are occurring at that school. So we'll have that calendar we give you. We'll have all those events that have been pre-scheduled, so and those are really good opportunities to be available as parents come in or as parents exit, just to have those organic conversations about the work here in the school district. So I'd encourage attendance at some of those as well. And then you'll also see, and so a lot of this you haven't seen, guys, for a long time, because we weren't in schools during the pandemic. So a lot of this is kind of reopening and being back into school events. But you'll see invites on this calendar on the parent engagement meeting nights. And so these are those special meetings where sorry, Terry.
I'm sorry, can we go back to the attendance at concerts and events? So maybe also, if we are able to let the principal know ahead of time if we are planning to attend, but if you could encourage principals to also introduce us.
We absolutely will.
That's sometimes and not that you
Yeah.
want to be center stage, but that way people know you're there, so if they do want to talk to you before or after.
They can catch you afterwards, yeah. Yeah,
And
we sure will.
Well, and I have
And
to.
at that, sometimes the principal will forget. But,
Well,
but we will ask them to
But
try
we
to do
can
that.
remind them or something too,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I just want to say, too, that I am really bad about checking proactively the websites. And so I applaud Rob for as many athletic events as you go to, because I constantly
So
forget to check that.
We're trying to take that out of your
Okay.
worry, Pepper.
But I will tell you that one of the things that was also very valuable is when concerts were coming up, the directors would invite me directly.
That is
And
good.
that was really helpful, because then I would know orchestra concerts coming up because Mr. Nugent emailed me, and so I know that's a lot of work on their behalf, but it just helped.
Yeah, it does. And so what we're trying to do is take that worry away from you all of where you have to go find things and see which things you're supposed to go to, and actually give you a schedule that you can put into your calendar and that you have. And we will remind people too that reaching out is always helpful ahead of time. But those parent engagement meetings, those are those special nights that parents are invited into schools for things like literacy night or math night, technology night, game night. This would also be PTO or PTA meetings would be considered parent engagement meetings. So those are always really good times to have informal interaction. And, the principal may ask you if you want to give an update at a PTO meeting, for example, just like you would at SAC. So that would be something, where you could welcome people and thank them for being there. But that's a really good opportunity to interact with parents on those nights. And then, so those would be, so what I've talked about so far would be at the schools that you liaison with. And then that last point is around whole board participation is encouraged and of course appreciated at any, athletic events, the showcase nights like museum nights, the awards programs, the IB showcase, STEM showcase, the technology showcase the school might have. So you'll get invites. Those will be placed on your calendar as a calendar invite. The items above that will be the items that will be on the other calendar that we give you, okay? What questions do you have?
I just thank you for this, like a little more specific direction. And obviously the last few years have been different because of COVID, but I feel like I have not been super present.
I haven't done any of these
Yeah.
things.
So
It's okay. We didn't during the pandemic. I mean, we really are just now really opening back up. So now is the time to kind of level set on what are those things we do now?
I'm gonna have to ask
Yeah.
my boss for some more time off.
Yeah, sorry.
And it can be pretty overwhelming, too.
It is.
So
It's
just
a lot.
Be kind to yourself,
Yeah.
and just remember, you can only do so much, but every little bit that you do matters, and so.
If you make it to one thing out of school this year as a board liaison, the principals and the school community are going to appreciate that you were there at least at one thing. Two things are even better.
how about as a parent? Like, I'm going to be at a lot of Greeley Central
Yeah.
things. Should I tell them every time I'm there, or?
I know for those of you who are parents, it's always nice to say, hey, I'm here, just wanted to say hello. It's always nice to do that if you're going to be there anyway.
Like email the principal ahead of time? Or just, yeah.
I think if it's these other things, Natalie, yes, these whole board participation things, you guys don't need to email the principal about those things. And when we give you the calendar schedule, we'll also give you the email contacts for the building administration, so you have all that, so you know who you're reaching out to.
Well, and I would just say one other thing. So when you do reach out and you don't get a response from the principal, maybe right away, or if I say, okay, I'm coming to this PTO, and if I don't get any response, it's not because they don't care. It's just that they're very, very busy people, and so show up anyway. They
Yeah.
have your email, and it's just a busy, busy world that they.
But I will tell you, if you get a chance to just email your liaison schools right now
Yeah.
and introduce yourself to the principal if you don't know them, it makes a world of difference, because if you can get to know the principals and then you show up to an event, it's just very different. And I will tell you, they read those emails to their staff. Because I've had staff email me directly and thank me for reaching out, and that really is a motivator for our teachers that work very hard. And I urge you all to do that if you can.
Dr. Pilch, I have a question, and I think I know the answer, but I just want to make sure we're all clear on this. And so let's say a teacher at one of my schools emails me directly and says, hey, can you come to my class to do this, X, Y, or Z, to read to a class, or to let me just showcase what our choir is doing, or to present something. How do we handle that situation, right? Where we haven't been contacted by the principal. It's not one of these. We've been contacted directly by a teacher who sees that, we're their liaison.
Yeah, I think, and you will be invited to come in and read to children during, the read week, and you'll be invited maybe to be a guest speaker. What I would encourage and recommend is that if you're being invited to come see something, that we open that up to the whole board. And so that all of you are level, getting the same level of information. If it's to observe something or see something, I know, that when we first adopted some of our new curriculum, teachers would reach out and say, I'd love for you to come and see this. But I think everybody on the board would probably love the opportunity to see that. And so I would just encourage you in those cases to work back through Amy and me, and Amy will get it on the calendar so everybody can come if they want.
Dr. Pitch, I have a quick question. I have a lot of former students that around Christmas I go read the Polar Express to their class. and it's not necessarily my school, should I just give you a heads up that I'm going to do that, or?
I only need to know, Rob, because if somebody says, well, Rob was here and said this, so I don't go, oh, Rob was there. No, I really, you're invited to go read to a class, go read to a class. Absolutely. Go read to them. Go read that Polar Express. And I don't need to know about it every time you go.
voices?
I don't do any of the voices, but I do some real corny magic tricks that the kids really get into, so. But thank
But
you.
the reason to tell us, Rob, is, Teresa and her team might want to come out and get a picture of that. Because those are really good pictures of board members when you're working with kids. Much more interesting than us sitting here right now, right? And so, that it's nice to know, so in case they want to get a photo moment, or if we want to let Ann know at the trib, and so she might want to come out and do a story if there's something special going on in the classroom that you're involved in.
Okay, thank you.
When you say former students, do you go read Polar Express to Northridge
To their
kids?
no, to,
Okay.
I have two former students that teach at
Gotcha.
some schools, actually more than that now,
Yeah.
but, so I go to their classes and
Gotcha.
read to their second and third grade classes.
They are now teachers.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I just hadn't heard of anybody reading Polar Express to high schools students before, so that's why I was checking. I was like,
You're trying to
that's
track
unique.
that out.
It actually works. I did it a time or two.
alive.
Take candy, they all love it.
Everybody loves candy. Any other questions, guys, on?
Then I have one more community engagement piece to get to, Michael, but
Okay, sure.
let's take questions on
Oh,
this
right.
first, what we've done so far.
All right, our listening sessions.
Yeah.
Any questions?
I'm sorry, what, are we talking about our previous listening sessions, or?
No, just the listening sessions we're potentially setting up.
Oh.
So talked about already how to engage our schools with school visits, and then how to engage them as board liaisons. And then now we're talking about something I think Kyle was asking about earlier, and what we talked about 2 weeks ago, and that's getting all of us into, or inviting at least all of us into a school to, to interact with not only the school community, but the community as a whole, and help invite some of our community into our schools. And
So going back through the information from last spring, I think there were a couple things that stood out that I heard some agreement on for pursuing, and that was, one of those was to actually hold a session away from the district, and with an effort to reach some of our families who might not be as comfortable coming into a district office or even into a school, and community members. So I'd like to, with your all's support, I'd like to pursue a listening session at the Immigrant and Refugee Center for parents who are there. I've talked with Lisa Taylor at the IRC, and she has a lot of our parents and community members who are learning English as a second language, or they're learning computer skills, or they're doing job training. They are with her on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 1. And she says they have a really good turnout. And so I'd like to set something up there if that, I know it's right smack dab in the middle of the day. But if we could get a commitment for several of us to get there during that time, even 12 to 1 maybe, so it could be over lunchtime, I think that would be welcomed by the folks at the Immigrant and Refugee Center. And we heard that in our sessions, that we needed to reach out to a more diverse population and to some of our folks who are newer to our school district. So what do you think of that idea? For starters.
The refugees and immigrants are not real good at this, but mostly from, there's the majority of them are from certain countries, right?
Yeah. So there will be translation available from their staff or from other parents who are there.
Yeah. I think the feeling I got from a lot of the input was the bunch of, undocumented immigrants that are scared to show up to these. And I don't think that would hit them, but I think it's a good start.
Yeah. So then I have another possibility around that, would be scheduling at the Rhodarte Center. And Rhodarte Center not only reaches out to parents in our community, but they do a lot of, I think, senior citizen activities and, family, other family and community activities. So that's the next one I'd like to schedule, is at the Rhodarte Center. And then, we're going to have some pretty big work to do in selecting a replacement for Miss Mueller's position. So that's going to take up some board time. But then I thought after we get that solidified, we could come back and look at, are there other sites in the district where we would want to host some meetings for listening and engaging.
With the Rhodarte Center, you could maybe reach out to BOCES that are Zoe
Oh, yeah.
Calderon, because she works
Either
with
one, yeah.
migrant families a lot.
Yeah. So I'd like to give you guys a chance to react to that.
I like it. More the merrier.
In terms of the IRC, and I know that's the middle of the day, but that's actually easier for me than an evening to come in the middle of the day. So I'd be all on board going and visiting with the IRC parents, for sure. And absolutely Rhodarte Center. That's kind of a no-brainer to me.
Middle of the day's a lot less kid traffic for me too. Sports and
Kids at
picking them
home.
up and stuff. So
Can make that.
I can usually sneak away.
I'm
Yeah.
in.
What was the date again? Say.
We don't have a date yet.
Okay.
Lisa
We're thinking November.
Lisa and I are working on some dates. I think probably October for the Immigrant Refugee Center. From what she said, they're just kind of gearing up their classes, so she thought October would be good. She said October or November, and so then I thought we can flop with the other one. We get to November, I think that's probably going to be a really busy time for you selecting your replacement board member. Other feedback? Questions about that?
I think the only thing I would suggest, and I appreciate Kyle bringing up some of the concerns that were heard by undocumented parents being afraid to come to meetings, is making sure we have definitely the translation
Oh, yeah,
services.
we will.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. We absolutely will.
I've given some presentations at the IRC as a nurse at Sunrise, and they usually just divide folks into their language. So then they're kind of sometimes all in one room, but in little groups. So you speak, and then you wait for what you said to be interpreted. And
Great.
it's really rewarding, cool
Yeah.
to see.
Yes, it's been a long time since we presented over there. I mean, we just locked everything down and didn't get to go anywhere. But now we can again.
You were online for a long time too.
Yeah, they were. She did mention her online classes, Lisa Taylor did, but she said she's got far more participation in person. And she said she's got a nice size group signed up for this next class.
Sounds good.
Sounds great. Thank you for setting that up.
Absolutely. And I guess in the wrap up here, if there's other things you want us to be thinking about around that, be good to share it. Or wonderings that you have.
Any other questions, guys, on community engagement and listening sessions? All right. Hearing none, we're closing in on the end of our work session, which is nice. We'll get to eat dinner without scarfing it down like we did last
Like
last
last
time.
meeting.
So really nice to do that. You guys you who are new don't really remember this. We used to eat while we worked, and so we would just grab food. It was over there, and we'd grab it, and we'd just eat and keep working. But now that we're a little bit more tech savvy, and that's a little bit more difficult. So let's debrief. And since we started with Miss Mash last time, Miss Sullivan.
Goodness, overwhelmed, but I like these ideas. I really appreciate the fact that we're going to get some of that one-on-one time within the schools, but like you, Natalie, I was like, well, doing my math over here going, oh my goodness. So
There's plenty of opportunity, right?
So I want to understand though, just, and I probably should have asked this earlier, and I apologize, but with the calendar, so Amy's going to send us out a calendar for each school just for our school, or is it going to be one school at
No, it'd just be your schools.
Okay.
We'll
okay.
separate it out. It'll very likely be a Google document that just has your schools on
Okay,
it. So you don't have to
nice.
look at everybody else's.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Amy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for all that you do. But yeah, I really like these ideas because I felt like we were kind of secluded last year with not really getting to have that engagement time. So this does help to have a better understanding of what our roles are and what we can do, and it opens up some more possibilities of just getting more of communication open. So thank you.
Pepper?
Yes, thank you for all the details. I know I'm the lame duck board member here, but I'm excited to have some things even in September to finish out my time here, and looking forward to making a few of these school visits. I do want to, first of all, I want to appreciate and call out how this is very time consuming to get all of these details from all these schools. So thank you for doing that. I've sometimes struggled with finding the right things to plug into with schools that worked in the schedule, and also navigating websites sometimes just isn't my talent. And so I appreciate you cobbling together all of the details for us. Did want to make a shout out to all of the parents and people driving in public, and especially also our UNC students who are back today. There's a lot more traffic in town and there's a lot of construction going on, so please, everyone, be safe and watch out for the kiddos.
Oh,
Yeah, just kind of excited to kind of get back in the swing of things. School visits are always fun. I just want to say thanks for hearing us on this listening sessions and continuing those. So, lots of work to be done and exciting.
Gary?
I don't have anything really different other than what's been said, except that I really appreciate hearing each of you and your individual perspectives on everything that we've talked about. And so thank you for that.
Rob?
I agree with Ms. Pappas. A lot of stuff going on. Thank you guys for putting these together. It's really going to be busy.
Same. Thank you very much. And I appreciate having all the school visits ahead of time because I make my schedule for work 6 weeks in advance. So I can come to 3 out of 4 already of the ones that are, through October. So then I can work things out for the other ones.
Yeah, and I would just thank you guys. There's a lot here that we could do. We don't all have to do everything, right? So as Ms. Pappas said, don't overwhelm yourselves, but there are plenty of opportunities to get involved and to get into schools. And then I would say, please do respond to those calendar invites as quickly as you can, as quickly as you know how your calendar is shaping up, yay or nay. Because again, if the majority of us can't make it, and there are only going to be 2 people, then we probably do just need to reschedule some of those things, and or just cancel it, even if we can't reschedule it. So please, as you see those calendar invites come in, respond to those with a yes, no, or even a maybe if you have to at the moment. So thank you guys. Thanks for the time. We will adjourn the work session, and if you're joining us online, we'll be meeting at 6 o'clock in our boardroom for our business meeting. Meeting is adjourned.
So then grab some dinner, and then do you think we can watch that now?